Okay, quick explanation here of how you put the props on. They're marked A and B, and you get 4A and 4B props, so that's pretty simple. You can see here there's a little circle, you may not be able to see it, facing that way, turning that way. And that means when you turn that little grommet that way, it locks. If we turn it the opposite way, it will unlock. And then you take the little pin out delicately, take the grommet off, and then put B prop to B, and we put this back on. Now we're going to line up so we can put the pin back in. This is very fiddly, and I can't see why they couldn't have just screwed the props on like most. Now we turn the way it's shown there, and that's then locked on. That cannot come off. Then it's just a matter of pushing these little caps on, and you do that for all four. Sorry if this is out of focus and the lighting's not great. And you have your props. It's a little fiddly. At first I thought this showing that it turns that way meant that I had to have a prop that turns that way, and was wondering why the B props all turn the other way, but no, that's just telling you which way to turn that little plastic grommet to lock it into the pin. You get 4 extra, and there are some extra pins in here too, which, yeah, it's very fiddly, so you may need them. So that's just a quick explanation about that. And fitting the props, it's a fiddly job, but they're not going to come off in a hurry. First impressions of this, it's a beautiful colour. It's a very glossy red. It looks very nice, very well made. Let down a little by these little sort of stripes, which should help with orientation. They're not put on very well, these little silver stripes. But yep, all this is explained in the manual. Now the manual is translated into English so that it is readable, but it is not particularly good, not particularly well written. In order to satisfy the different operating habits of the consumers, this remote control was installed with 2 types of different operating modes, mode 1 and 2. Upon starting up, press button B towards the right, which is the trim button underneath, and switch on the power supply of the remote control simultaneously. Can toggle between mode 1 and 2. So that's a nice feature. Transmitters here, it's your typical Syma transmitter. It actually seems a bit bigger than my other ones. Of course it's spring loaded on both sides because this has altitude hold. Buttons on top. Let's say the white and red looks a little tacky. Same, you know, missing buttons there. It takes 4 batteries, and there's 2 blocks here where there's actually no connection. So why they didn't make it just take 6 batteries, I don't know. Now we can take these 4 spare props, and they're really chunky solid props, and put them back in the container. Now of course you're going to want to put the legs on. Actually, before I do that, we'll take these 4 spare grommets, and put them in a little plastic bag, and put them away so we won't lose them. Now the legs are held on by 2 screws. Which will certainly make them pretty solid, but seems like they doubled up on everything just to be annoying. So we'll put the 4 legs on. Okay, now that we've got the legs and the props on, you put the camera in its little case. It only goes in one way, a little hole there for the mini USB cable. And the camera only slides in one way, plugs in, and there is just Syma X8HG all together. Very nice looking quadcopter. Build quality seems very good so far. Next thing of course is to charge the battery, try out the basic features on how to calibrate which buttons do what, and if I move this a little, you might see it is dark outside. I've been waiting all day through fog and rain, which hasn't let up, so I've decided to just put this together as a quick video, and hopefully the weather will cooperate tomorrow, that I can get a flight in and test the capabilities of the quadcopter. But there is the Syma X8HG in all its glory. Great looking colour, looks fantastic when put together. Camera striking, because the battery bay's in the back here. Huge battery bay for a huge battery. You got off and on switch here. The battery itself, which you probably can't read. 7.4 volt, 2000 milliamp per hour. I don't think it's got any C rating. That goes on the charger. And then tomorrow hopefully we'll see how the quadcopter itself goes. If I can figure out which way that goes in. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching. It's the Syma X8HG.